Hello everyone and welcome to another 5-minute build showcase, today featuring Gyrfalcon's Hauberk and the Void 3.0 subclass. This is the ultimate assassin build, granting us infinite invisibility, debuffs to enemies, a damage increase of 75% to weapons, and constant damage reduction. This build is one of the best ways to play the Hunter aggressively, getting up in the face of champions or groups of enemies with minimal risk and maximum DPS. This will be especially useful in the new Heist Battlegrounds with its power level modifier. Kicking off the build, we have the exotic Gyrfalcon's Hauberk with its perk See Me, Feel Me. Your weapons gain a bonus to damage of 35% for 5 seconds after you emerge from being invisible. When defeating a combatant while invisible with a finisher, you and your allies gain a reserve overshield and improved class ability energy. This whole build will revolve around coming in and out of invisibility as much as possible to take advantage of extra weapon damage to defeat enemies. Checking out our subclass, we start with our super. I prefer using Mobius Quiver for its increased DPS against bosses. However, you can use Deadfall if you want longer debuffs on groups of enemies. I'll be running Gambler's Dodge to refill our snare bomb ability, which weakens targets on use. And for the grenade, I prefer using Vortex Grenade for its add clear potential and boss damage. Now it's time to enhance the build with our aspects, making us a true assassin, starting with Vanishing Step. Dodging makes you invisible, allowing us to have an on-demand way to become invisible and escape the fight or activate our buffs. Our second aspect is Stylish Executioner. Defeating targets affected by a weaken, suppression or volatile grants invisibility and true sight. After defeating these targets, your next melee while invisible weakens targets. This aspect is what is going to allow us to come in and out of invis consistently, taking advantage of the benefits the build has to offer. We now have 4 fragments to choose from to boost the effectiveness of this build. The first fragment is Echo of Persistence, increasing the duration of invisibility, overshields and devour, which we are all going to be using. Our second fragment is Echo of Obscurity, where finishers grant invisibility. This fragment is going to make having consistent invis even easier. To give us consistent volatile, I'm using Echo of Instability to grant volatile rounds after grenade kills. When paired with an automatic weapon, the damage output and add clear is insane. Our last fragment is Echo of Starvation to grant Devour after picking up an Orb of Power, which has a longer duration with persistence, granting us some great survivability. This build so far will give us near permanent invisibility, a 35% damage boost, and the possibility to consistently weaken targets for a 15% damage debuff with our snare bombs. Now we just need to add some mods to complete this build and increase these buffs even more. Elemental Wells are going to run our major mod selection, with Elemental Ordnance and Bountiful Wells to spawn wells. I'm also running Reaping Wellmaker, where after activating your class ability, your next weapon Final Blow spawns 2 Void Elemental Wells. On top of the ability regeneration, these wells will proc Font of Might for a 25% damage increase to Void weapons, and Well of Tenacity for a 10% damage resist when picking up a Void well. For some minor mods, I'm running Harmonic and Void Siphon to create Orbs of Power. These orbs will grant us super energy, as well as activate Devour for health regen, and also flow into Insulation to reduce our class ability cooldown even further. To keep reducing our dodge cooldown, I'm also running 2 sets of utility kickstart, returning 20% of our dodge on use. On the arms, just use whatever champion mods you may need, and if you don't need any champion mods, equip Bolstering Detonation for class ability regen on grenade damage. Make sure you equip resistance mods on your chest armor and boost your resilience to tier 10 for a permanent 40% damage reduction with tier 10 mobility for even lower class ability cooldown. All this gives us an infinite loop of coming in and out of invisibility, which grants us 60 to 75% extra damage to weapons with Gyrfalcon's Font of Might and Weaken debuffs. This is by far the most aggressive Hunter build I've ever made, and it makes Nightfalls, Lost Sectors and Dungeons a breeze, even on Grandmaster difficulty. If you enjoyed this build showcase, please be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny builds every week, and I'll see you in the next one.